Hey, brother! Well, this is new. Then the day has finally come that we promised some time ago. The day where we finally reveal the true identity of Tamatoa. Okay, so in case you have forgotten from our first Tamatoa video, Tamatoa is what is known as a coconut crab. Basically a 10-legged, 3-foot wide armored spider of the deep who can also live on land, steals shiny things, and can move at an alarming speed. They are also known cannibals, hermits, and, wait for it, ghosts. Okay, maybe not ghosts exactly per se, but at the very least, reincarnated spirits. While we were researching the coconut crab to plan for their inevitable invasion, we came across a very interesting term in Polynesian culture, Tamatoa Moana. Tamatoa Moana are the reincarnated spirits of the ancient people or before people. They can take many forms, but for evil creatures, it is typically a dog, a deer, or, yeah, of course, a coconut crab, the evilest of them all. Now, you might have noticed that Tamatoa Moana sounds a lot like Tamatoa, and given the explanation for what a Tamatoa Moana is, I can't help but think that's where the name Tamatoa came from, which suggests that he is possibly a reincarnated spirit himself. In fact, the place he's hiding in Moana, Lalotai, the realm of monsters, was originally going to be the realm of spirits. And I know, maybe that doesn't count because they didn't really go with it, and maybe it sounds like we're grasping at straws. Maybe this is completely ridiculous, except that we actually literally see a reincarnated spirit in Moana when her grandmother comes back as a manta ray. And if you're thinking, oh, Tamatoa isn't all blue and glowy like that, she is like that the first couple times we see the grandma, but at the end, she is just like a regular giant manta ray with all those crazy tattoos on her back. But anyway, all of this just raises the question, who was Tamatoa before he was reincarnated? The tricky thing is, we don't get to see a ton of Tamatoa in the movie. Well, actually, that's not true. We probably get to see what adds up to several tons of him in the movie. Get it? Because gold is dense and also, he's a giant crab. What I mean is he's not in the movie for very long, so we don't have a ton to go on, but I think he's in there long enough that we have a pretty good picture of what we're looking for in someone in a past life. First of all, in order for them to come back as an ancestral spirit, we're looking for someone who is possibly ancient or who was at least around for a very long time. We also know Tamatoa loves collecting things and is specifically on the hunt for powerful objects like Maui's hook or the heart of Te Fiti. Also, interestingly, despite literally calling himself a decapod, which means 10-legged, he, upon further inspection, only has 8 legs. So, are there any dead, 8-limbed underwater villains who like to collect things and seek objects of power? Yeah, raise your hand if you can see where we're going with this, because in Tamatoa's past life, he was none other than Disney's other most infamous ocean dweller, Ursula from The Little Mermaid. First of all, we know she dies because we see it happen on screen in arguably the least exciting villain fight ever. I mean, what, did you lose to a boat? You can control the ocean and you lost to a boat. I'm sorry, that's stupid. Do you know how stupid that is? That'd be like if you were, I don't know, like in charge of the ocean and lost to a boat. Ursula also has 6 tentacles and 2 arms, adding up to 8 limbs, the same number as Tamatoa has, even though he should have 10 because, again, he's a decapod, but for some reason only has 8. The reason being, because in a past life, he only had 8 and was Ursula. Also, Ursula, Triton, and the like are all arguably ancient beings. I mean, we don't get a good idea of how long they've been alive, but Triton is king of the sea, like basically a god or Poseidon. King of the sea, I mean, that's almost as good as being as powerful as a boat. As far as I'm concerned, he's basically a god though, which pretty much lines up with Tamatoa, who also has dealings with gods, or at least demigods in the form of Maui. Before reincarnation, Ursula was also able to use magic, something I don't think Tamatoa is able to take advantage of. But Ursula would use that magic to collect souls, whereas Tamatoa just uses his massive size to collect treasure. He also manages to collect at least one ocean-themed object of power in the form of Maui's hook. And what does Ursula spend the entirety of The Little Mermaid doing? Tricking Ariel so that she can steal Triton's trident and seize control of the ocean, which she loses to a boat. Who gets stabbed by a boat? And taking control of the ocean is actually what Tamatoa is trying to do in Moana by getting the Heart of Te Fiti. But that's not to say Ursula wasn't also trying to collect the Heart of Te Fiti herself. Notice where Moana carries it with her throughout the movie, around her neck. And what does Ursula have around her neck for all of The Little Mermaid? Literally the symbol for the Heart of Te Fiti. Oh, also, sorry, this is a little off topic, but did I mention that they are both purple? Because yeah, they're both purple, which I don't want to sound like racist or anything, but that's a weird color to be. Man, I should put that on a shirt. Purple. I'm a weird color to be. Speaking of which, did you guys know that we Super Carlin Brothers now have shirts available for sale at dftba.com? Because if you didn't, you should go check them out because they are awesome. But back to Tamatoa. The other issue you may be screaming at your computer right now is the difference in gender. Ursula is a woman and Tamatoa is a male, so what gives? Well, first of all, I have no idea how reincarnation works. Perhaps gender is a changeable thing upon rebirth, which seems like a simple enough explanation for me, but if that's not good enough for you, consider this. Ursula's physical appearance was based on the popular 70s drag queen Divine, so it's actually not even a far stretch to imagine her as male within her own movie. But honestly, the whole gender thing isn't really a big issue for me. What did get me hung up for a while was the timing. Because for this to be true, Moana would have to take place after The Little Mermaid. But obviously when you compare the two, the technology in Moana is way behind that of The Little Mermaid. I mean, they have bigger boats, modern clothing, structures that are built out of not palm trees. But then I realized Moana is lost in time. The entire premise of the movie is that 1,000 years ago, Moana's ancestors used to sail the ocean in search of new islands. Then Maui steals the Heart of Te Fiti and they stop because boats stop coming back to the islands. Because of this, they purposefully decide to remain isolated and unchange anything about themselves for 1,000 years. And 1,000 years is a long time. Like if you think about that, that's the year 1017 for us. That's like Roman Empire times when like technology, not that great. I have to imagine, especially for, Pacific Islander people who are literally trying not to change. In fact, the entire first song of the movie, Where You Are, is pretty much all about this. One of the lines is literally, tradition is our mission. And it definitely has been 1,000 years. I mean, Maui says it when Moana rescues him. The grandmother references 1,000 when she's telling the legend at the beginning of the story. And if you need further confirmation, we can look at the rocks on the top of the island. There are 16 rocks there, plus 17 if you want to count Moana herself. And if you want to give an average lifespan of 60 years or so, yeah, that adds up to right around 1,000. So there you go. Unrelated, but fun fact, while researching this video, we learned that the places on Earth with the highest life expectancy are all little islands like this. Anyway, the point is, Moana could easily be taking place after The Little Mermaid because nothing has changed on Motunui for 1,000 years. And the cherry on top, the very final bit of evidence that these two movies are connected, comes from none other than Tamatoa himself. After the end credits, we see that he has still not managed to flip over off of his back, and he addresses the audience directly, saying,
"Can we be real? If my name was Sebastian and I had a cool Jamaican accent, you'd totally help me. You would, you know you would."
He knows who Sebastian is. And how does he know that? Because he's had to deal with him in a past life when he was Ursula. Now, yeah, typically I would say like an end credits joke like this where he like breaks the fourth wall and talks to the audience doesn't really count. But I think in this case it does, because during the movie itself, Tamatoa is the only character who also breaks the fourth wall. It's during his song when he tells you, "Decapod, look it up." And look it up we did. It was the first step on our long journey down the road that would tell us the true identity of Tamatoa. It's almost like they wanted us to discover this little hidden treasure. Oh, and by they, I mean Ron Clements and John Musker, the guys who directed Moana and, wait for it, the Little Mermaid. And Ben, there you go, Tamatoa's true identity. My question for you and everybody else is, what do you think? Is Ursula back in the form of Tamatoa? Leave your thoughts in the towel section down below.
These socks are amazing!
Guys, thanks for watching. Guys, as always, please remember to like this video if you haven't already, and subscribe so you don't miss any future Moana videos from us. If you want to see our original video, Tamatoa Explained, you can click right here. And if you want to learn more about those little coconut guys, the Kakamora, you can check out this video right here. But Ben, that's everything I've got for you today, man. I will see you in another life, brother.